Welcome back to Homesteading with the Zimmermans, where each week we give you another episode of what's happening here on our Northeast Iowa 21-acre homestead. My husband Alvin and I have been married for 25 years, and we have 7 children. 5 of those children still live at home. Our oldest 2 are married and no longer live at home, so this means we also have 2 son-in-laws and 1 grandson so far. So on our 21-acre homestead, we seek to preserve the self-sufficient lifestyle of our old order Mennonite heritage for the next generation. We involve the children in every aspect of the homestead, from raising and harvesting our own meat, gardening and preserving to fill the family's larder, or preserving the dairy from the family milk cows, plus all the many other skills that develop the character and integrity and relationships of a family that seeks to bring glory and honor to their Heavenly Father. Hello guys, Ruth Ann Zimmerman here with Homesteading with the Zimmermans, and it's been a while since I brought you guys into my kitchen with me, and some of you have told me, I miss your recipes, I miss watching you cook, and there's an explanation for why I haven't brought you into my kitchen. So most of you know that I've written a book, and in that book are some recipes, right? But I'm actually under contract for 2 books. And so the first book is all done. I am working on the second book, which is a cookbook. And in that cookbook, I need a certain percent of brand new recipes that I have never released before. I've never put them on YouTube or anywhere else, right? So I have been spending a lot of time in my kitchen, but I've been keeping the recipes from you because I need to, make my quota of brand new recipes. However, today I am going to make some deviled eggs, or salad eggs, as some people call them. And we are going to use farm fresh eggs, and I'm going to show you the trick that my grandma showed me on how to get farm fresh eggs to peel like old grocery store eggs. So we have an abundance of eggs right now. My chickens are doing their job well, and we're gonna make some deviled eggs, and I am gonna share the recipe with you. So without further ado, let's get some water boiling for those eggs. Okay, our water is at a full rolling boil, and now we're going to put our eggs in. So the reason that farm fresh eggs usually are problematic when you want to make hard-boiled eggs is because that membrane, there's a membrane that is between the shell and the egg yolk and white, right? And the fresher the egg is, the stronger that membrane is. So when we boil these farm fresh eggs, the hot water cannot penetrate. It can't get between the shell and the membrane, and it's all just stuck together. And then when we try to peel them, that membrane is stuck to the egg white, the now cooked egg white, and it pulls it off. So what we need to do is crack the egg a tiny bit before we put it in the boiling water. But first, one of the most important things is you need your eggs refrigerator cold. They need to go from refrigerator cold to the boiling water. That is one very important step. Now, some people will just take their egg, that one cracked too hard. This is why I don't do it with a spoon, and create just a tiny crack on the surface of the egg and put it in, but I don't have that much. I just crack them too hard when I do that. So, and then that one seems to be okay, but My thing is I drop them into the water. I hold them right above the water and then I drop them to the bottom of the pot, and that gives a tiny little crack, and then the boiling water can get in between the shell and the membrane. Start coming. So I just hold them right above the water and drop them in. That one probably is a little too cracked. I don't like when the white comes out. See, that's too much. I don't have enough control with my spoon to crack them with my spoon. Okay, we've got all of our eggs in there, and if I'm only making like 3 or 4 eggs for a dish, I will set my timer for 10 minutes. But because I have 2 dozen eggs in here, I expect it to take about 2 minutes before it comes back to a rolling boil. So I'm gonna set my timer for 12 minutes. Anytime that I cook more than 1 dozen eggs, I set my timer for 12 minutes. Okay, so while those eggs are boiling, we are going to make some mayonnaise for the deviled eggs. I'm going to use 1 egg yolk, and this is a recipe I'm still working on developing. So I'm not going to give you the complete recipe. There's dozens, hundreds probably, of mayonnaise recipes online for you to find. But I'm going to start with the egg. I'm working on developing one that uses homegrown ingredients, right? So lard instead of like avocado oil, which is a seed oil, olive oil, which is really hard to get a good pure olive oil. So I'm working on one using lard, and that's what I'm going to be using today. And it looks like I'm low on lemons, so I'm going to be using vinegar. And then some salt. I've got a little bit of paprika and some mustard. Okay, so my grandma's recipe called for some sugar, but I am experimenting with some honey. So I'm going to mix all of the spices and the honey and the egg yolk and the vinegar together until it's well combined, and then I'm just going to slowly add my lard. And I like my lard to be at least room temperature. This one I had set into some warm water, so it's a little more runny than I'd like for it to be. But the beautiful thing about using lard, I've discovered, is that it firms up as it chills. So adding a little bit of cream to my mayonnaise gives it a beautiful creamy texture, and also keeps it from becoming so firm in the refrigerator. So our eggs are done cooking, and now comes the next step that's very important if you want your eggs to peel beautifully, and that is ice water. You'll want to take your eggs from the boiling water directly into ice water, because this helps the hard-boiled egg to shrink away from the shell. So we cracked the shell, and this helped the boiling water to get into the membrane. And now we're going to dump them into this ice water, and any that aren't cracked are now going to crack, and then the boiled egg is going to shrink away from the shell because of the ice water and help us with peeling. Here you can see the ones that I cracked too hard with the spoon. They kind of, boiled out of their shell and came out, but that's okay. We will throw them into the deviled eggs or make egg salad with those. But here you can see exactly how beautifully these eggs will peel. So if I find some that aren't cracked, I just crack them and put them back in the ice water and give them a chance to release from the shell. Here's one that you can tell was cracked. This one was cracked beautifully, and it is going to peel perfectly. So here you can tell exactly how strong that membrane is in farm fresh eggs that sits right under the shell. And it's that membrane right there that you're seeing, that little piece, it looks like skin, that will adhere to the egg white and cause us to, pull the egg white off as we peel them if we don't get hot water in under that membrane. And here again, the reason this is not an issue with store-bought eggs is because that membrane gets weaker as the egg gets older. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to remove all the egg yolks and put them into a bowl along with any eggs that were not intact anymore. So not every member of our family loves deviled eggs, so I am saving some just plain hard-boiled eggs because they will eat just plain hard-boiled eggs with a bit of salt or seasoning. So this way I'm keeping both sides of the family happy. So next I'm going to smash the yolks and those few damaged eggs. And I'm just using my potato masher, and I'm just going to mash them the best that I can. So for a dozen egg yolks, for a dozen deviled eggs, add 1 cup of mayonnaise. You can use store-bought mayonnaise if that's what you have. And my mayonnaise is still pretty runny because my lard was melted. And mix the mayonnaise with the egg yolks. Add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, some mustard to give it a little bit of tang, and then my grandma always added about 2 tablespoons of sugar, but because I want these for Elvin's lunch and he's trying to stay low carb, I just added a little bit of stevia. Some people don't like a sweeter deviled egg, but my family likes a sweeter deviled egg. And then I'm just going to take my immersion blender back into these egg yolks and get them nice and creamy. You want an egg? Wait, Mommy, make you one. Look, it's yummy. You want a bite? Bite? Here, you have a bite? Mommy help you. Here, Maxwell. You want one?
Thanks.
Here, I'll take this. You stand here and watch him while you eat it. You want to pick it up and eat it? Here you go. Look, there's Winston's. You want to eat this one? You like those? Is that yummy? No, these are for Dottie. You eat yours.
Can I get one?
Yeah, you can have one. Here, will you eat this crippled one?
Sure.
Light? Yeah, the light can be hot. So when we've got all the deviled eggs filled, I'm going to take what was left of my homemade mayonnaise and put it into my mayonnaise jar. We're still kind of at the point where the family's not completely thrilled with my homemade mayonnaise. I mean, they don't complain about it when I use it in recipes and things like that. But to use it on sandwiches, they're still not 100% sold on it. So it helps when I mix it with some store-bought mayonnaise.
Mom, do you know when there's a second rainbow? The stripes are flipped.
There you go, guys. Now you know how to get your farm fresh eggs to peel beautifully. And I know everybody has their favorite tricks and ways to do this. This is just my favorite way. And you also know how to make deviled eggs the way my Mennonite grandma made them.
Yes. Bite.
Come, let's go find the chickens. Hi, kitty. Bark, bark, bark. Okay. Oh, here you go. Eat it. You need more? You need more? More. Yummy. More? More. You want to give it to the cows? Yummy, yummy. Oh.